FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
When the Nixon tapes came out about all the cursing that Nixon did in the Oval Office, there is not a single person in this book, well, that probably not is literally true.
Chelsea Clinton.
Who does not use, we'll describe it even for this audience as the F-bomb.
Yeah, there are sentences where it's used as a noun, a gerund, and a verb.
Right, but
And an adjective.
Widely used. So I guess it's not necessarily the times that have changed, but just the fact that all this stuff is revealed.
Well, it's the way they talk. I mean, it's the way people talk in newsrooms and law firms and the Commonwealth Club and in politics. And, over the years, I covered plenty of people and knew plenty of people who worked for Hillary Clinton who said, oh, she never uses profanity. And many people said, well, of course she does. And if we settled nothing else with the book, we settled the fact that, yeah, she does quite a bit. She's got a couple favorite words, too.
And which made me wonder whether the Clintons, as they're described in your book and frankly in other books as well, aren't the new Nixon. Brilliant, dark, full of vengeance. I mean, you really got that. I mean, all sorts of other things that are admirable, but that sense of that sort of dark side was really prevalent in the book.
Well, there's an extraordinary scene in the book, if I may say so myself, and a scene that actually has gotten a little less attention than Mark and I thought that it would get. At the end of the first section of the book's in 3 sections. The first deals with the Democratic nomination fight. At the end of that section, there's a conversation that we report on over 4 pages of verbatim dialogue of a private conversation that Hillary Clinton had with Mark Penn, her chief strategist. She had invited all of her former aides to come up to her office in the Senate to discuss what had gone wrong.
One by
one in her presidential in her office, to have like a postmortem on what did we do wrong, how did this get screwed up, what can I learn from it for the future. And Penn was among the last to come up there, and he was obviously central to her effort. And they had this conversation about the campaign, which is, I think, for anybody who has read the book, you'll know what I mean. If you haven't read the book, you'll find this interesting when you get to it. It's an extraordinary conversation, and Nixonian is the word that comes to mind if you read it, because Hillary Clinton at that point had endorsed Obama, had campaigned for him, had started a campaign for him, and yet her level of bitterness and paranoia and anger is so high still at that point. She is, in this conversation, alleging that Obama stole the Iowa caucuses by busing in supporters from Illinois, calling his supporters members of a cult, talking in extremely profane in very angry ways about what had befallen her, about how the press coverage was so slanted against her that she and her husband Bill were used to the idea that the press would be against them, but they had never seen anything like this before. And both in its tone and in the particulars of the things that she says, I've rarely heard such, it's so unvarnished, the language, and also the emotions are so raw, but so dark, exactly as you say, that there is a strong whiff of Tricky Dick in that moment.
Well,